Yo, what's good, everyone? Alex Terrace here with another Jets episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast. And with me today is video producer extraordinaire, man with a plan, the man who pulls all the levers and pushes the buttons behind the scenes, the one and only Greg Albert, my co-host for these for like what's a week and a half now,
Yeah,
going a week and a
feels
half,
longer, but
something
yeah,
along
a
those
week
lines.
and a half I think it was. It's been a good run. Johns will be back soon, but hey man, we're holding it down. I think we've had two of the best weeks that we've had all season, back to back weeks. I mean, I'm loving what I saw last week. I was loving what I was seeing today, up until the end. So, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I've been chiming in, but it's been good to be on the actual podcast on the YouTube channel. So go check us out there. It's been great. How is your weekend going though?
My weekend's going it's going pretty well, man. It was nice, chill, Happy New Year to you, my man.
Happy New Year to you and everyone
Happy
out
New
there.
Year to all. Yeah, happy New Year, happy holidays to all our listeners out there, everyone who supports this podcast channel, whatever it may be, whatever you want to classify it as. Thank you guys so much, and we hope you guys have a wonderful new year. We guys hope you had a fun, safe holiday. I hope you guys made the best of it. But for me, it's been pretty good, man. Spent my New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with the missus, so that was
Nice.
cool. Nice, relaxing. Watched Don't Look Up Netflix series with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Ooh.
That was pretty good.
Yup.
Pretty good movie to watch. Then watched a lot of sports, man. Just watch, the New York Knicks, the New York Jets. Today's been a let me classify how good today was for the Jets. I enjoyed watching the Jets more today than the New York Knicks. That should tell you how down bad
Oh.
the New York Knicks are right now without Julius Randle. Just seeing the young guys go out there. It's growing pains when you have a young squad out there trying to get everything acclimated. You're missing your top player, so you see they're struggling a bit. And we played the Toronto Raptors today, 11th straight loss up in T dot. So rough outing today, but the Jets today made it very interesting, man. Made it very interesting. But how was your weekend before we start
It was
getting
good,
into
like
it?
you said, laid low, nothing too crazy. I know that I think it's one of New Year's around here. Christmas is one of those times as a sports fan, which I love all the sports. So I was watching college football yesterday. I don't know if you caught the Rose Bowl at all. That was one of the best
Oh
college
man,
football games I've ever seen. The Winter Classic for hockey. Obviously, Christmas Day. Some people say starts the NBA calendar, so full swing into that. But I wish the Knicks. When I did my first episode here with you, 2 or 3 episodes ago, we were talking about how great the Knicks were looking, how great the Jets were looking. But this Toronto Raptors game, I'm with you. I caught some of the highlights. I caught the box score. I didn't get to watch any of it, but Freddie
you're
Van
lucky you
Vliet,
didn't.
man. I mean, he's been playing well this season. He's had a little bit of a come up over the last few years, but today I think he had 35 points. It was tough. It's
Yeah,
tough.
man. He just went nuclear today against the New York Knicks. I mean, that entire team. It's crazy watching such a team like that develop their own talent from guys coming from the G League,
Yeah.
guys from just utilizing every draft position, finding guys off the street. Like Toronto's truly, they've truly done a good job. Masai Ujiri has done a really good job building that team. Hopefully, the New York Knicks can be that. We're still in year two with this new regime. Hopefully, we can get to that point. It'll take time.
Yep.
All this stuff takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Nothing happens overnight. So we're just going to watch the growth. But we're not going to talk about the New York Knicks, man, because it was depressing watching that game. We're here to
Yeah.
talk about New York Jets. We're talking about here to talk about some exciting football today because, Greg, you and I were putting that energy in for our boy John, even though he's out in Kenya right now. We tried so hard, man. This was our Super Bowl. We talked about it last week when we recorded on Wednesday. Yes, the episode dropped on Friday, but we were talking about it last episode. This was our Super Bowl, man. This is the win that I wanted the most. I really hate that guy. Like,
Oh
and
yeah.
not as a person, I just hate him as the figure that it means in football because he just tortured us. Absolutely has tortured us for 2 decades. 2 decades.
Yep.
And I would think that the last time, this has to be the last time. Hopefully it is the last time
I
that he
would.
comes through
Oh
MetLife.
man, I thought that so many times. I'm done thinking that. I expect him to be here till in a wheelchair at this point. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's going that direction. But come on, man. He comes back to MetLife, a different uniform, different team. We're playing well, and we had it right there. And it all comes down to a few miscues defensively,
Yep.
offensively. We'll get into all of that, but general overall takes, man, I thought it was a really good game. I think you could walk away from this game with a lot of moral victories if you wanted to look towards the future and say, hey, our quarterback looked good. Defense stepped up today. You're looking at Bryce Hall, Michael Carter the second. Look even at Michael Carter before he goes down with an injury. You go get all these guys are offensive line, played well today. And you could walk away saying, hey, team showed up and they're playing meaningful football. They haven't packed it in a week before the end of the season. So, and you could say kudos to the coaching staff for keeping them motivated throughout this entire season. Kudos to Joe Douglas for getting LDT to help the offensive line because he certainly helps. Glad to have him back with Elijah Veritek because when we recorded, it was trending that those guys weren't going to play, but thankfully they did play. So there's a lot of moral victories today, man. What do you do? What could you say before we really hop into this thing?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, moral victories. I know, like we were talking about before we started recording. A lot of people online talking about like, hey, we played great and we got the loss, so we didn't lose draft position and stuff. For me, all that gets thrown out the window when we're playing Tom Brady. So,
Facts.
so I don't care about draft position. I don't care if we lose every game for the rest of the year, even though there's only one game left. But if we played him in week 4, I don't care because the season wasn't. We weren't going to do anything this season. We knew it, so I just want to beat them, and we had a shot. I feel like, I mean, I don't want to. I want to know how you feel about this, but I feel like we kind of manifested this game in a little bit. If you remember back to last week, we talked about we were trying to bring the energy. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we came out strong. We brought the energy. We started out hot. We talked about we need to get Braxton Berrios involved. Boy, was he
Mm-hmm.
involved today. And then
Yes, he
you
was.
talked about special teams, like needing him to get a punt return, kick return. And then I said, yeah, but I don't mind getting him involved on the offense. He had 5 receptions last week. He was our leading wide receiver. Today he was involved running. He was involved catching. He was great. We talked about needing to run the ball, keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. I feel like we did that. You talked about Zach Wilson not turning the ball over again. Didn't turn the ball over today with an interception. So I feel like we had I feel like we had our pulse all over this game. I feel like the Jets coaching staff did. I feel like we came out and executed and we lost the lead for the first time with 20 something seconds left in the game. The problem is that
Crazy to say that.
they held it for the last 27 seconds and they got the win. So I
Crazy to even say that.
yeah,
We lost with we lost in the fourth quarter. That's crazy to think about.
less than 30
Like the
seconds.
the growth of this team up until this point and just everything that you could say really comes a long way. And yeah, it's second to last game of the season. You could say this coaching staff sucks. You could say that Joe Douglas hasn't done anything. I think if you're saying that within year one of this new coaching staff, year two of a Joe Douglas managed team, I think you're being a little overreactive to what actually is going on here. And I'm not saying that these guys are going to be here for the long term. I'm not saying these guys are the greatest guys we've ever had. I'm not saying any of that, but we haven't had a front office really see their plan all the way through successfully since Mike Tannenbaum.
Mm-hmm.
And John Idzik didn't do that. Mike McCagnon, I don't think, knew what the hell he was doing.
Nope.
And now we have a GM who is making meaningful trades during the deadline where we even see the tight end that he traded that he gets back making plays today in Brown. So that's even
Crazy.
more hilarious. So he didn't even think about that. He didn't spend anything to upgrade Greg Van Roten, which you saw as a whole. So I can't even say that. He just knows how to make trades, which is in and of itself a huge win for the Jets because we don't need to be the team on the raw end of the deals anymore. That we've gone through that experience, and
Oh
so
yeah.
kudos for that. It's still a growing experience. Like all these guys are still trying to figure things out. There's a lot that needs to be figured out. This team has a lot that needs to be addressed. Quarterback is at a hold right now. Zach Wilson played well today. That's still a TBT, TBD to be
Yep.
determined. All I could say is that he played well today. He's making some strides. I'm not saying he's our quarterback of the future. He did look well today. He's been playing good second half of football since he came back from his injury. And that's all I could say about that. So as of right now, there needs to be no change about that. But we still have a lot of areas need to be addressed, whether that's still the offensive line, whether that's still getting another wide receiver, whether that's adding another pass rusher, adding depth at the linebacker core, getting more safeties. That's the type of stuff that I'm looking at right now. So
I'm with
that's
you.
all I could say about Joe Douglas. And so for anyone who's just like overreacting, like we lost today and taking that, you can either joke say the Jets wanted to keep draft position, but we'll get more to that because as we see, that was a miscommunication by the coaches, and it looked like it was a play for Braxton Barrios. But we'll get more into that later.
Yeah, yeah, we will.
Before I get any further though, Greg, you know what time it is. It's time to do a little housekeeping around here. We gotta pay the bills because we gotta keep the lights on as we do this
Oh yeah.
for our listeners. So guys, once again, Minute Media owns Fanside, of which we are so awesomely a part of. They also have the Players Tribune, started by my guy, not Greg's guy, my guy, Derek Jeter, John's guy, Derek Jeter. Yeah, that's right. You know what the Players Tribune is. You get all these storytellings from the athlete's perspective. Well, they got another podcast coming out. All right, it's called The Blindsided. The Blindside is hosted by former NHL goalie Corey Hirsch and psychiatrist Dr. Diane McIntosh. This is the first ever mental health podcast. All right. Like I said, the name of it is Blindsided. The show will share the moments of a variety of athletes when everything changed for them and mental health became the most important focus of their lives. It allows listeners to have an understanding of the different types of mental health challenges people face. Some of the guests that they've had so far include Kevin Love, Paul Bissonnette, and Kurt Warner, and many more. And they go through different types of mental health issues, whether it's panic attacks, PTSD, sudden life changes, feeling insecure, breakdowns. So, guys, make sure to go over to the Players Tribune and check out this new podcast called Blindsided. All right. You can listen on all streaming platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, therefore. So make sure to go out to, like I said, the Players Tribune, check out Blindsided. Amazing podcast.
Yeah, really cool
All
thing.
right.
Really cool thing that they're doing. Just real quick to tie it in a little bit. Before NFL today, I don't know what I was watching, Fox or CBS. They had AJ Brown come on from the Tennessee Titans and talk about his struggles with mental health. And it's crazy to me sometimes that some of these players, anyone could be going through it. So really cool that they're doing it. Really cool to see from their perspective. But it's just another great outlet, another great thing that these guys do. So really happy to be associated with them. Really happy to keep it turning here with Fansided and everyone.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Mental health is no joke. We even saw someone who seems like he's going through it himself on the field today with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
He seems to be going through it. We don't know what it is. Shocking, to say the least. Shocking. But we'll get into that news at the
Yeah.
end. That's not Jets related. So we'll get into towards the end and get our takes on it. But Greg, let's start it off first with the special teams, man. Let's knock it out of the gate with the special teams. Special teams today played so well. Like honestly, except for Brandon Mann, like I get it. He had that short punt to put I was about to say Patriots, put the Buccaneers in short range for an easy score. And sure enough, they got the field goal to make it a 4-score game. But other than that, like I look at Eddie Pinheiro hitting that 51-yarder, man.
Big time.
That's what we need, dude. That is the type of stuff that we need. And it's so fitting that it gets towards the end of the season and we finally get a kicker that can do something. He goes 3 for 3 for extra points. Longest, like I said, was 51-yarder for the field goal to get us that 3 points to make it a 7-score game before the end of the half. And special teams, man, doing such a good job. And even when you see the Gunners running downfield and getting everybody, they didn't let any punts, any kick returns go longer than it should be. Guys were on top of it today. Really like that about the special teams coming together. And look, Braxton Berrios, they talked about him today, man. They talked about him today. He's the runner up. He's a fill-in if someone misses for special teams in the Pro Bowl because he deserves it. Had two kick returns for 55 yards today. Longest was 28, and he just works so hard, man.
Yeah.
He just works so hard. Braxton Berrios gets a lot of love on this podcast, and rightfully so. So shout out to the special teams. Brandon, man, like I think he's injured, man.
Yeah,
I think he's injured. This is like 2 seasons in a row. Like last season, he was looking pretty good. This season, I think it's that injury, man. And I don't think he's the worst draft pick. I see people out there like on Twitter saying that he's probably like the worst draft pick from 2020. I think that's a little hyperbole.
yeah,
I think that's a little extreme. Honestly, that's the case for Denzel Mims because he didn't even get a snap today.
yeah.
So I look at Brandon Mann as a guy who's coming back from injury. Let's remember earlier this season he got injured against the Carolina Panthers. He's coming back, still trying to get into the groove of it. I give him another year and see what happens and shakes it out.
It was first game of the
Anything can
season, right,
happen.
against Carolina.
Yeah,
First game of the
first
season,
game,
man.
first play.
Yeah, first time he had a punt all season. Can you believe that? Just like getting ready, like you said, coming into a new season, fully healthy, all offseason ready to go. First play, first punt attempt of the season, gets hit, gets taken out of the game, has to come back. Yeah, he's battling through it. My big thing today was special teams. I agree. We like looking at the special teams plays. We look great, but we talked last week. We had one punt last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we were so excited about that. Today we punted 4 times against the NFC South leading 11 or 12 now and 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We punted 4 times, so we were moving the ball. We were doing what we needed
Mm-hmm.
to when we had to punt. Man had 2 good punts today, 2 inside the 20, so they had to go the full length of the field if they wanted to score. He, when it was clutch time, he came up a little short. That kind of sucks. But Eddie Pinheiro, man, we got the interception late in the first quarter. When was the last time you remember the Jets getting an interception on Tom Brady with like less than a minute left in the half, going down the field, getting a field goal position, and then kicking the field goal? It was incredible.
If that ever happened, it had to been when we had Darrell Revis and Antonio Cromartie on this
Yeah,
team. Like that is I don't have the numbers right now, but that has to be the last time a New York Jet had an interception on Tom Brady.
yeah, kicked it
Has to
with
be.
15 seconds left. It was crazy.
Yeah, man. No, and they did it. Like talk about taking advantage. Like they took. Shout out to Brandon Eccles, man. Second interception
Yeah,
on the season, and he takes it back, puts the Jets in good field position, and then the offense moves close enough to get an
20 yards.
Eddie
It wasn't
range for
anything
yeah
crazy, but
Eddie Pinheiro, but gets in range for Eddie Pinheiro
yeah,
to knock it through. So kudos to the defense and offense being able to once again play complementary football, which I always talk about. And look, so kudos to the special teams for getting the kick and for playing well today. Now let's move on to this defense, Greg, because we
yeah,
can't. There's only so much you can go on about the special teams.
yeah.
Um, defense. Talk about. I would say bend but don't break, but they did break for the last play of the game,
Yep.
and that was on Elijah Riley, our safety, who's honestly I'm not even gonna be upset about that. Dude's legit off the street, like practice squad from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about it. I'm not too upset about it. Like this is a learning experience for a guy who legit is coming from a practice squad, tried to make a play, but sometimes depending on the situation, you got to know when to make the play. You got to have better judgment. That you just need to stay with your guy and stay in good coverage. But overall today, man, I think defense played pretty well for making it very difficult for Tom Brady today. Like he didn't have anything easy. Like you had everyone just getting to him, giving him a lot of pressure today. It was really a nice showing by our defense. What did you think?
I thought so too. I mean, I'm trying to look it up now. I think Tom Brady's 2 longest throws on the day were on that last drive. So we held those guys up. The only thing that kills me is, I think John's talked about it a lot. I know you have too on here. When are we going to be able to cover a tight end? When?
Oh man,
It's been like a decade, I feel like, since we've been able to cover a tight end. We talked about it again last week. We were on it. We said, Godwin's out. Antonio Brown's was banged up, but he's gonna play. Mike Evans, we weren't so sure, and Rob Gronkowski, we weren't so sure. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for the most part on offense, I feel like today were pretty much healthy. They came in with Gronk. Gronk played well throughout the day. I think he had over 100 yards. Mike
mm-hmm.
Evans played, today. So we were talking last week about, there's a chance that they come in really banged up. They were pretty banged up on defense, but on offense, I feel like they were fine, and we held our own. We held our own on the defensive side of the ball against these Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are gonna contend for a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I mean,
yeah,
no, yeah, no. I mean, just to add on to that, like you're absolutely right. Like we thought we weren't going to see any offensive weapons besides Gronk, and look, they had Mike Evans, they had Antonio Brown, and they had Robert Gronkowski.
yeah,
Good
Can't-
call on getting some Le'Veon Bell action in here because we did,
yep.
and then they had Ronald Jones a second getting some touches as well. Um, but other than that, like it's always difficult when you're playing Tom Brady. But this team, for the defense to face them and really hold this team to, they had them to 467 yards total, but most of that was the 98 yard. I feel like what was like 92 yards in the last moments of the game. Like they were
Crazy.
holding them down for most of the time. Like rushing our front seven, they the Bucs only ran 62 yards on us. Like
Yeah,
that's nothing. Everything had to be done through the air,
had to.
and we talk about who's the big culprit for this. Talking about Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski comes in today with over 100 yards receiving. Just he's just a monster to handle, man. Like we don't have a linebacker that can do that. We don't have safeties that can cover him and really lay lay the boomstick on him.
Hmm.
So you have him running rapid for 7 receptions out of 10 targets, 115 yards. He didn't get any touchdowns. The longest was a 24-yarder today. But he's just difficult, man. And then you have Grayson out here getting 6 yards. He's the one who got the touchdown at the end, which is really annoying. But
Yeah, if you
six
look
catches for 81 yards.
if you look
But
at
other than that, it was pretty quiet for the receivers outside of Gronk, man.
yeah, and that's the thing. After Grayson, after Gronk, everyone else had four less catches. Like we were on it. We were on it today. I feel like last week you talked a little bit about Echols made a rookie mistake early in the game last week against Jacksonville. Then he played pretty good. I didn't see that today. I didn't see him getting beat. I didn't see bad flags. I saw him playing well. Bryce Hall all season this year I feel like he's been playing pretty good. So I'm happy with what we have at the secondary. And then on the front seven pass rush side of things, they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. I feel like we got good pressure. Michael Carter got a sack. I was happy with the way we played today. Um,
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
both levels, all three levels, or whatever you want to say on the defense. So, stop the run. Yeah, again, they don't have Leonard Fournette. Ronald Jones went down with an injury, but he still had 10 carries. Like he was still running the ball when he was in there. We were still stuffing him. Was averaging 2.6 yards a carry. So you said the rush defense was good. We knew that we had to run the ball and we had to play good defense. And I feel like we did today. I was happy with it. I was happy with special teams. I was happy with defense. And I was happy with offense. We just came up a little short at the last minute of the game. So,
Yeah, and just to top it off with defense, man, like Bryce Hall played well today in coverage. Brandon Eccles was playing well today in coverage. Michael Carter the second was playing well in coverage today. Honestly, if I have any complaints, it's really the safeties, and
yes.
you just see what happens when you don't have adequate safeties. Like we're missing Marcus May. Ashton Davis is just not it, man. I'm not seeing it right now. He could potentially have it all change next season. I'm just not seeing it, dude. Like I saw him try to tackle Gronk today. It was just it's just rough, man. Like he
Yeah.
is too small to be playing back there and trying to take on big guys, big tight ends, especially like Gronkowski. I know Gronkowski's in his own league of his own. It's very difficult to get someone who can stop him, but even just to watch the tackle and just him bounce off with ease, I can't be seeing that, man. Like you got to
No.
hold on, you got to do something. There has to be some sort of like slowing the guy down. He can't even do that. That's the bare minimum with Gronk that you need is just to slow him down so you get multiple hats to him. He's not even doing that today, man. Ashton Davis is not looking like it. Elijah Riley had a better game than Ashton Davis, but when I look at these corners, man, I'm impressed because I thought this was going to be the weakest position coming in. John
Yeah.
and I thought it was going to be the weakest position. I believe me more so than John, and they're proving me wrong. Like they're absolutely proving they're doing a really good job. Like they've done a really good job this season. So kudos to the defense on that. Very difficult to have to guard Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski, and apparently Grayson because Grayson is just out here just running rampant. So
Yeah.
good job for our defense to that extent. Obviously, it was towards the end where they just had plays and offense put them in bad positions too. When you have two back-to-back 3-and-outs,
Yeah.
that's tough to have it defend short field. So good job by the defense for the most part today. Now again to the offense. I'll let you speak, man. I'll let you go off with this one. What did you see from the offense today that you like, man? I think there's some good things that we already touched on at the beginning, but what did you see?
I mean, what did we talk about last week going into this week? We talked about Zach Wilson not turning the ball over. He did that today. I was happy about that. We talked about running the football, which I feel like we had 150 yards. Zach Wilson didn't run it at all. Michael Carter, obviously, a couple big plays, but Walter was our big. Austin Walter was our big guy today. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a name that I wasn't too familiar with. I know you and John are a little bit more plugged in on the full roster and everything like that. So I was excited to see him out there running. My guy Ty Johnson, I loved him at the beginning of the year. He looked good when he was running it, 7 yards a carry, on average. So when we were running it, I felt like we kind of had some chunk plays and stuff. We were looking pretty strong. It was just not enough. Zach Wilson, I will say this: I've talked about Zach Wilson a lot about his inaccuracy. I felt like today he was on, he was more on target than he has been in a while, and he had zip on the ball, man. Like I don't know, maybe it's confidence from last week because he looked so good last week, or maybe it's just he knew Tom Brady was in town, so he had to play strong, or what it was, or just maybe it's just a combination of everything and him maturing as the season goes on. But 19 of 33, 230 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. Like I said going into the game, if Zach Wilson has 100 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions, and we win the game, I'm completely fine with that because we won the game. We were winning the game 99% of the time today. So, I was happy with it. His QBR, if you want to look at like stuff like that, it was low. I don't care about stuff like that. I care about how he looked. I thought he looked really good today. I was happy with him. I was happy with the
For
offense
sure,
as a whole.
man. For sure, for sure. And I like the way Zach Wilson played today too. Starting with Michael Carter, he goes down into concussion protocol,
Yep.
got hit hard today. He had 3 touches for 54 yards to start the day off. One that went for 55 yards. He was just looked like today was a day for him just to break loose. Unfortunately, he gets concussed
He like
and
tackled
he's out.
himself too on that play. That
Yeah.
that was that was like heartbreaking. I was like, let's go. Like again, we talked about it. You and I were texting in the first quarter of the
Mm-hmm.
game, going back and forth, going nuts. And we talked about Michael Carter having another big day. I was so happy for him. Then he kind of tripped himself up, kind of tackled himself. That killed me.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, he had to go out. And then you get Austin Walter and Ty Johnson doing bulk of the carrying today. And Austin Walter looks like a cannonball, man. He looks like he's firing out of like, it looks like a rocket the way he's like launching off sometimes. He's able to find the gaps, just running hard, using his shoulders, keeping his shoulders low and ready to embrace contact. I like the way he was running today, too. This isn't the first time he's done this. This is, I think, like the second or third time this season when we've had to go deep into our back running backs, but he played well today for what we needed, averaging 3.5 yards a carry, 14 touches for 49 yards. He didn't look like he was like owning the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, but he gave you crucial runs, crucial gains at the right time, and just being not even patient. He was just running hard, man. That's really what it is. It's not like Michael Carter, who's a little bit more patient. He was just running real hard today. And Ty Johnson, he gave us some good carries today. 5 touches for averaging 7 yards per attempt for 35 yards. Longest one was a 22-yarder, but he looked pretty good today as well. So
Yeah.
nothing out of the ordinary there. But the one guy who was really rushing outside Ty Johnson, who got us a touchdown. That was the big one. He got us a touchdown, falling on top of the lineman, just keeps chugging, falls right in. The other guy with the rushing touchdown today, before I get into Zach Wilson, we got to talk about Braxton Berrios, baby.
Woo.
Man rushed it in today, got the receiving touchdown today. He was all over the place, man. First of all, Braxton Berrios, 2 touches for 12 yards, one TD, and then he gets 8 reception for 65 yards, like a true slot for one TD today as well. Man, and he got 12 targets. He was getting
Yeah.
peppered today. Like Zach Wilson's best receiver on the field today, hands down. And dude showed up today. He was balling out, man. Braxton Berrios balled out. Man needs to get a contract today, extend him. He needs to be back on this team. You just see the all the work that he puts in, man, just translate to the field. Even when I love referencing this because it's a joke for Denzel Mims, like how he's doing the ladder drill.
Yeah.
But you watch Braxton Berrios in that drill, and you see how he's pumping and he's focused. He's doing everything right, and you just hear about from all the reports, whether it's DJ, whether it's Connor Hughes. Everybody talks about the work ethic of Braxton Berrios, and you see it translate to the field. That man needs to come back. That's what you call leadership in a locker room, by the way that you practice. You come in every single day and train, and it translates to the field. He needs to be back, man. Like for special teams, being that slot wide receiver. We don't know what's going to happen to Jamison Crowder, but this guy needs to return because my God, man, I was just hyped. I was tweeting about him all day today because I was so hyped to just see him go off, man. Two
Yeah.
TDs, two TDs. That's
Quick in
what's
the
up.
first quarter, I think it was first jet in
Mm-hmm.
franchise history for receiving and a rushing in the same game. I was hoping we were
Mm-hmm.
gonna get the punt return, a kick return, hit the trifecta. Man, he was looking great. Again, we talked about it last week. He looked like to be the lead guy last week. He was again our lead guy this week. I'm so happy for him, playing well, special teams, offense. I just wish on that 4th and 2 we gave him the ball, man. I don't know if you saw that. As Coach Saleh was talking about after the game, it was supposed to be an end
I
around to
did.
him. He was
I
wide
did.
open.
So let me get into Zach first before I get into this
Okay.
because this is where Zach's day cut becomes a little. It becomes rough. I'm not going to hold too much on it because he's a rookie. But Zach Wilson, you talked about, man, he went 19 for 33 today, 234 yards, averaging 7 yards per pass, one TD, no interceptions, has a rating of 89.7. Zach played so well today. You talk about having zip on the ball and accuracy. Today was probably the best complete day of Zach Wilson we've seen. Like last week was good too, but today was truly like the complete day. He elevated the play of everybody around him, whether it was Jeff Smith, whether it was Braxton Berrios, whether it was Ty Johnson. He was getting the ball to them for the most part on target, in rhythm, across mid routes, short drags and short routes just overall. So this guy was just doing it, like out here wheeling and dealing. Everything was on a frozen rope. You can use all the analogies and all just the imaginative
Mm-hmm.
words just to create how well he was throwing the ball today. Great job by Zach Wilson. Like really, this is the type of performance that makes you hyped for him going into next season, saying, "Oh, I see the growth in this guy. Oh, okay, let's see what he can do next season because if he can keep building off of this, then we may have something here." And that's where that TBD becomes, all right, this is a hold until further notice. Then you know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
upgrading,
Banged up
but
offensive
the
line too.
banged up offensive line. We lose George Font today. Sure, we had Elijah Varick Tucker, we had LDT, we had Morgan Moses, but we're also playing with Dan Feeney. We're interchanging linemen the last couple of weeks, man. This entire season.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have
Felt like it.
everybody, and he doesn't even have his top wide receivers. He doesn't have his top wide receivers. Still throws for 234 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions today. 19 for 33. Dude was just on it today. Absolutely on it. So
Yeah, and
I love the performance I saw from him today, man.
I agree with you on that. Also, too, I think coming into like the season, going into the draft, like people were, comparing him to all these different people, whoever it might be, Pat Mahomes. He's got this rocket arm, all this stuff today. Today was the first time I felt like I really saw it consistently on those short and medium routes. Like he was throwing the ball, and I was like, that ball has zip on it. That ball is moving, and it's getting to where it needs to be on time and accurately, consistently throughout the game. So great game from him. Sucks that we came up a little short, but I'm with you that the last 2 weeks have been tremendous for him to build on for next year. Hopefully we come out strong next week against the Buffalo Bills and we ride off into the sunset into the off season strong. But last 2 weeks have been great. I love what I see from Zach Wilson, and hopefully he keeps on building.
Yeah, man, and like we've been on this pod, whether it's you and me or John and myself, it's we've talked about. We saw the growth during the Eagles game. We saw about it like all different points throughout the season where it's like, all right, we got a good half. Can we get a complete
Yes.
game? Two back to back weeks. We've got complete games now. We're getting that.
Yep.
If he can do it again, that's just a good way to end off. But and this is not to say that we're going playoffs next season. It's just it's good. Like we've seen this too. Sure, you can all come back at me and say, hey, Alex, we saw this with Geno Smith not too long ago. We were feeling good when it was
Eh,
8-8 and he railed off into the sunset. This is a little different, man. This feels much different than watching Geno Smith and watching a team with eh, they didn't even have talent on that team, but it just feels a lot different, man.
yep.
A lot different this time around. I can't put it on. I can't pinpoint it. I'll come back to you guys with why it feels different, but it does feel different. But Greg, you talked about that fourth and second play. That
Yes.
was an end around for Braxton Berrios, and I called it too. I didn't call it. That was for Braxton Berrios. I knew something was up because I was like, I don't think this coaching staff is that wild to call on 4th and 2nd and goal like
inside the 5.
in goal, yeah, inside the 5, like goal line territory, like that they would call a quarterback sneak being 2 yards away from the first down. Like that just doesn't seem right.
And the NFL's a little tricky because they say 4th and 2, but it was pretty close. I felt like to 4th and 3. It was just when not,
Yeah,
it wasn't a full 3 yards, so they have to call it 4th and 2. But it was a long distance to QB sneak, and I was
exactly.
so surprised by it. I couldn't believe it happened. I couldn't believe
Everyone
that we were
was
going for it.
surprised.
What do you think about just going for it there? Should we kick the field goal? We would have been up 7.
I'm fine with going for it.
Okay.
At this point of the season, this is we talked about going for it. Where does it make sense? It's a lost season. You could play for the honestly for them. It's like, look, if we lose, we still keep draft position. If we win, we this is the Super Bowl for the fans and this team. I'm fine with it. I'm not upset with going for it. I think in these situations, and we saw that from when whether you're the New York Giants playing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl or the Philadelphia Eagles playing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, you can't play it safe. You got to go for it.
Gotta go
You
for
know,
it.
you got to go for it. You just got to go for the kill. It just depends on the play that you're calling to go for the kill, and to do a QB sneak when you're that far away isn't right. But I tweeted out because people were like, "This is what the coaching staff calls." And I'm like, I don't think the coaching staff is calling this. And when you watch that play again, you see Braxton Berrios confused. Like he looks absolutely confused at what's going on here. And it was, as Robert Saleh said, Coach Saleh, it was meant to be an end around to Braxton Berrios, which it would explain why he was confused because Berrios had the wide open lane for a touchdown. Like it
Yeah.
was wide open. The thing was that it was an option for Zach Wilson to go for it,
To
is
sneak
from
it.
what
Yep.
I'm gathering. Yeah, to sneak it in. And because they thought, well, if we drag everybody else, that means he'd have room. Unfortunately, he thought that meant QB sneak. So poor communication there. And this is where it's growing experiences with your coaching staff, your quarterback, everyone. So this is where I just can't kill everybody. Like, you're like, well, we should come in here and win. Guys, the last time we had seasoned coaches that came in here and tried to win, they didn't even win either. So I don't like what are you looking for? Like,
Yeah.
what are we going to do? Keep hiring and firing everybody? Who wants to come here and be like, oh, do I actually have the full length of my contract or do I only have 1 year to turn this team around? That's just unrealistic expectations. And I hate those expectations. So it was poor play calling on Zach's part. I'm not going to belabor it because he's just a rookie
Yep.
making his own mistakes and he has to learn. But hopefully learns that when your guy's killing it in someone like Braxton Berrios and when you're killing it with your arm, use your arm, man. Like you haven't ran it today. And I feel like when it comes to running for a quarterback in that short distance, it's risky, especially when everyone's like in tight. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
hard for like Zach's got some wheels, but I don't think he has those type of wheels to just burst on the outside. You know?
I feel like he kind of does, but to your point though, it's not like you're at like the 30-yard line. You're in the 5. You're inside the 5. That D line is up right on the nose of your guys, hat to hat, ready to go. So it's not like you're facing 3 or 4 linemen because it could be a pass, it could be a run. You don't know what's going on. There's nowhere else to defend but the next 3 or 4 yards or 5 yards for that defense. So they're up on the line, they're ready to go. I think Zach Wilson does have the legs to burn someone on the outside, especially if it's like a lineman or a linebacker that's not expecting it. But
At
Braxton
that
Berrios,
close range though,
I think so. I feel like he does. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just because I keep thinking about that 50-yard touchdown last week, or the 50-yard run last week. Yeah, touchdown. I don't know. Maybe it's because I keep thinking about that, and maybe I'm just confident. But I know who definitely does have the wheels to burn someone is Braxton Berrios.
that's
So
a
if we
fact.
could have got the ball to him, he could have ran. It was open to begin with, but if anyone popped up, he definitely could have ran it in. So, to
For
your
sure.
point, I think you make a great point though about it's a young Zach Wilson. I'm not going to beat him up because he's a young coach, but it's also a young coaching staff. So maybe it's not clearly communicated. Maybe maybe it's LaFleur or whoever's calling the offensive actual play calling today. Maybe just they weren't as clear as they could be with Zach. I'm not sure whose fault it really is. It seemed like a good play because Barrios was open. Um, but young team, young mistakes. Just sucks because
It
it was
is what
so
it is,
close.
man.
And it
I
sucks
know it's
because last week we talked about we were within the 5 yard line 4 times. So that was like a main talking point last week about it. And here we are again coming up short inside the 5. So when we could have won the game and closed out Tom Brady, and it would have been an amazing end to the season. 13-point underdogs winning outright if we did it. So it is what it is. It
yeah.
kind of sucks, but we were so close. Drives me crazy. We were so close.
Yeah, and just catching up further on the clarification on the 4th and 2 by Connor Hughes. Uh, they called it largely a 4th and inches 1 yard play has two options: QB sneak or end around to Barrios. Both work with half to 1 yard on 4th and 2. Jets only wanted end around. Sneak wouldn't gain two. Sneak would have gained two. They didn't relay that to Wilson. That was the part that they didn't relay, was the sneak wouldn't gain two. So that was the miscommunication in hand.
Yeah.
And with stuff like that, um, it just makes it more difficult. And Connor Hughes then continues, because that direction wasn't given to Wilson, he went to the line running the play as designed. Keep it if you get look A, hand it to Barris if you get look B. He got look A and kept it. Saleh had no direct answer for why. After timeout, it wasn't made clear to Zach Wilson to hand to Braxton Berrios. And the play worked. The play worked as designed. If it was 4th and inches, the QB sneak against the defensive front gets the first. Because it was 4th and 2nd, the handoff to Barrios gets the first. But it's on Jet staff to make it clear where they want to hand off, that they want to hand off to Barrios. They didn't, bad by them. So it's really like the coaching staff. So you can put on the coaching staff, you could put on the QB. Like, the QB should also be wise enough, in my opinion. I don't fully put on the coaching staff. The QB should also be realized, like, QB sneak on 4th and 2. Like, why are they calling this? Like,
Yeah.
you want like options, Barrios, me, like you go with Barrios. Like, if you're getting those type of options,
Yeah.
if you get these certain reads. But hey, it also wasn't communicated. So it's on everyone's fault for this time. But this is growing. This is pain. You get through it. You learn from it. You improve the following years. Look, Andy Reid, for as long as we know as a head coach, his Achilles heel has always been time management, and he finally did it. So it is what it is. Everyone's got to learn and grow. That's my take on the matter.
Yeah, and Zach Wilson, to me, at least from what I've seen, the limited amount I've seen him this year and a little bit at BYU last year, he seems cerebral enough to be able to pick that stuff up maybe in year 2 or 3. Just sucks that it's his first year, but that's something that, like, to your point, if it's a seasoned quarterback, I expect a seasoned quarterback to know that. Because it's his first year, he misses that, messes it up, because he did get the look that he was supposed to sneak it on. So, just unfortunate, but God, we're so close today.
I know,
I
man.
can't keep saying it. It's driving me nuts. And the thing
It's
too
so
that kills me,
painful.
one last thing about it, is that I feel like we just had such a good read on this game. I feel like the game
We
played out
did.
exactly
Yo, we
how we
called this.
wanted it to, and we had to lead the whole game. I was so ready to come on here and talk crazy about a wire to wire win
Oh
over
man.
Tom Brady, never having a, never losing for a second today, but he does it again.
And then I have to see Boston fans tweeting that because what's even wilder, since I live up here. This is how gross it is up here. He doesn't play for the Patriots anymore. As soon as they see that it's on Fox, they're like, "Oh, we're getting TB12 in the New England area," because people still, and that's even the most wild part, is that they are rooting for this man so hard. They have a Patriots jersey and they got a Bucs jersey with TB12. That is how wild it is up here, man. Absolutely gross. And so you see that it's on Fox. Well, thankfully for me, because I have NFL Sunday tickets, so it was blacked out. I was like, really, it's blacked out. I was like, oh, of course, people want to watch in this area. This makes sense.
Yep.
So I know, man. I was ready to say, yo, we called it end to end. We did call it. It didn't go the way that we wanted to in the end. For all you fans out there who want draft position, as of right now, according to Tankathon, the Jets would pick 4th and 7th because of the Seattle Seahawks, who are also trash. So if we did win today, we either are 5 or 6. We would be 6 most likely, because we did beat the Panthers. No, we lost to the Panthers, so we'd be 5. That's why they would have it on us. So we'd be 5th today. So if you were we're a little bit closer to being in the top 3, if that really matters to you. So there we go. The last thing I do want to touch on, Greg, because I thought it was just wild. I want to know your takes about it. And we talked about it for the ad read on mental health. There's something clearly wrong with Antonio Brown. Like, I don't know what he's going through. We're not here to crap all over him. He's clearly going through something. And I hope he finds whoever to help him take care of it. But watching that play out in real time, my man, I could not help but be like, yo, what the hell is going on right here? This man took off his shoulder pads after talking to Mike Evans, takes off his shirt, walks out shirtless, throws away his gloves into the stands, and he's not on the team anymore. Bruce Arians said he's not a Buccaneer anymore. He's out of here. To me, I was just my mind was blown. I've never seen anything like that happen in my life, man. Nothing. What were you thinking when you were watching that unfold?
I was thinking the same thing, and like to your point about it, there, Antonio Brown's gone from something to joke about and something to talk about to clearly something is wrong because, like you said, even like the Buffalo Bills guy, didn't the Buffalo Bills have a guy last year or the year before just quit in the middle of the game and just go home?
Yeah,
At halftime or something like that, I think he just went to the locker room and was like, dude, I'm done with this, and just went home.
yeah, yeah.
To me, that's something to laugh about and joke about because it's funny or whatever it is. It's different, but there's not clearly something wrong. Antonio Brown, there's just too many stories at this point. Something's up with him. Like, to your point, though, I've never seen it. Probably never going to see it again. It was wild. It was wild. I was watching the game with my dad, and he was asking me, like, what was going on. I was like, honestly, I don't know because I've never seen someone just. And he was like, he was in the Jets end zone pumping up the Jets fans and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. So it, like I said, it was weird. It was wild. I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about it, but clearly something's wrong. Clearly something's up.
I mean, odds for the Patriots winning the Super Bowl kind of goes down a little bit to have if you don't have Chris Godwin or another sure hand, if
Tampa Bay, yeah, Tampa Bay.
you don't have another sure hand wide receiver, like that ruins it for you, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know,
to me,
man.
that's
Perriman
that's
stepped
that.
up. The other guy that caught the game-winning touchdown stepped up. So who knows?
All
Maybe they have
right,
enough to keep it going. I don't know.
Perriman. Perriman can get out of here because we had him last season. This man just hops around the league. He only had two catches for 41 yards. He does his normal thing. He shows up for a part of the day and then he goes away.
Yep.
Like Grayson, like maybe like he had a good game against the Jets. Granted,
Yeah.
we're a younger team, so kudos to him for balling out. But I don't buy it. I don't buy. I don't know how he's been doing on the entire season as a whole. I just don't buy the small samples like this game from the Jets. So when especially when you have Chris Godwin, you have Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, you have all these other dudes. Like I'm sure that yeah, here we go. My man, regular season stats was today's game. He has 4 receptions for 4 targets. Uh off of 4 targets for 131 yards, 1 TD. Oh no, this hasn't updated yet.
This is Perriman you're talking about.
No, this is for Grayson.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. No, he's like I think the seventh wide receiver on their team. It's insane, but
Yeah,
yeah, crazy. Crazy.
absolutely
I did
crazy.
have a game I wanted to play. If we won, I had so much stuff planned. I don't know if we still want to talk about it, and it kind of ended on maybe on a little bit of a lighter note because we know where the Jets stand. Like I think you were saying it last week. We know what we are at this point. We know what Tampa Bay is. I was gonna play with you. Who was it sweeter to beat today? Because to your point, they have Perriman, a former Jet. They have Le'Veon Bell, a former Jet. And I completely forgot about it until I saw him on the sidelines today. They have Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I was about to
So
say
I was
there's a
gonna say
lot of
I forgot
revenge
last week
games.
about the revenge factor. I forgot about Todd Bowles, who's the defensive coordinator in charge of the whole defense. So he definitely came out to play today, and our offense I think held its own. So I was gonna play who was it beater, who was it sweeter to beat?
It's always
Um,
Tom Brady. Tom Brady's always
and
the
then Tom
answer.
Brady was the other one, of course.
Tom Brady is always the number one answer. I
No,
honestly like if I had to go honestly between I guess it may go Todd Bowles, Le'Veon Bell. I don't know. Somewhere
yeah,
tied between those two. Like Perryman's on the bottom of the list. I could
yeah,
care less about Brashard Perryman. But even for Todd Bowles, man, like I feel bad for Todd Bowles because I know people didn't like him because he was kind of like he was the complete opposite of Rex Ryan. Didn't really show a lot of emotion. He seemed like he was just kind of going through the motions. Didn't really have a true hold on the team. I actually had no issue with Todd Bowl
yeah.
personally. I actually thought he was fine. I think he was just dealt a terrible hand based on a terrible just a terrible situation. Like you have to go in there with Ryan Fitzpatrick for 2 seasons, and you got Josh McCown, and then you get Sam Darnold. Like that's not any winning recipe that you get right there, especially when you have locker room dysfunction with who do we have? Oh my God, we were just talking about him last week.
Oh, the defense, or
Especially when we
like
have
Mo
Muhammad.
Wilkerson, Sheldon
We had
Richardson.
Mo Wilkerson. We had
Yeah,
you had the beast. You had the beat between Sheldon Richardson and Brandon Marshall going on.
yeah.
You had Muhammad Wilkerson, who was not living up to his contract. Yeah, there was just so many issues with that
There's a
team,
lot.
man. Eric Decker was in and out of the season. Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't have enough offseason the second year to really be in tune with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. That was just a crappy that was a crappy tenure, man. It's nothing against Todd Bowles because I think Todd Bowles is a good coach, especially an awesome defensive coordinator. He does have a Super Bowl ring thanks to Tom Brady, and he
Yep.
did a good job when he was out in Arizona too. And he had Carson Palmer with Bruce Arians too. I think he's a good. I think he's a good cord. I think he's an excellent defensive coordinator. Being a head coach for the New York Jets comes with a lot of baggage, a lot of weight, a lot of expectations, especially playing in New York, a team that's looking to win that hasn't won in a while, and then it just went downhill from being 10-6. I really have nothing against Todd Bowles. I think he
Yeah.
was just given a crappy hand. I know people are like, "Well, Todd Bowles didn't do this, didn't do that." I would like to know if you're in that, not you personally, but for
Yeah.
everyone listening, if you're in that situation, how do you come out as a winner? Because you have a guy who's drafting like best available, which is one of the worst ideas in the NFL. Like
Yeah.
that's not an idea. You don't draft best available at your position. Start wheeling and dealing then.
It's
It's just
crazy.
terrible. It's a terrible idea. This isn't the NBA where like we'll draft by best position available, best player available, which could sometimes theoretically work. I wouldn't even do that in the NBA.
Yeah, the NBA you can get away with it because there's so much fluidity in the positions. You know what I mean? Like if you're 6'8", you could play the 2, you could play the 3, you could play the 1. It depends who
You do a
you
hell of
are.
a lot of things. I'm just
Yeah,
watching.
the
Speaking of, I'm
NFL.
just watching the Raptors who have like like four guys on the court who are like 6'7" to like
Yeah,
6'9", 6'10", and they go play the
NFL you
same
can't do
position.
that. Can't do it. So I agree with you. That would have been the order for me. Tom Brady is number one, then Todd Bowles two, just because he was the head coach. And I don't really care about Le'Veon Bell and Perriman. I don't feel like they were even really Jets. They were here for a cup of coffee. So
Yeah, they really were here for a cup of coffee.
uh,
Well, on that note, Greg, I think we did a good job covering this game up.
I think
Really,
so.
a lot of moral victories for this one. A lot of moral victories for this game. But honestly, I wanted the win. You wanted the win. Anything to beat Tom Brady. If you guys are still questioning this front office and head coaching staff, like you gotta give it time. You gotta let things marinate. You gotta let things settle. So we have a larger sample size to really dissect here. But other than that, man, I'll take the moral victory for today, knowing where this team is, where they stand. But good stuff, Greg. Good
Yeah,
stuff, man. Anything
it
else you got
was.
to add?
No, like you said, I think these are the best 2 weeks back to back football that we've played all season. Complete games from start to finish. Not good halves, not good quarters. So I'm happy with where we are. And if we were a better team vying for something, this would be the best time of season to get hot. So I'm happy that we're getting hot
Yeah,
now. Hopefully we can build on it going into next season. Get some new players in. Get everyone healthy, and who knows what 2022 can have in store for the New York Jets.
yeah, man. And on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in for another Jets episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast. You know what to do. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please make sure to give us a 5-star review or a comment that helps us out oh so greatly. But if you don't listen to us there, it's okay. We're on Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. On top of that, we're on YouTube now. So make sure to check out the YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to hit the like button when you watch these videos and to hit the notification bell so you know when a new episode drops. And while you're there, we have Winning Picks Weekly. Video producer Greg, John, when he's coming back from wherever he's venturing off to now, man's like Carmen San Diego, these guys do an excellent job. Greg just did a phenomenal job solo dolo on Winning Picks Weekly, giving you his takes on the week 17 NFL slate. Man's out here putting in work. So, guys, make sure to go check out that podcast and make sure to listen to what these guys have to say because they've been doing a hell of a job. All right,
went
hell of a
six
job.
went 6-3 in the 1 o'clock window. So if you followed me
There
this
you
week, you're
go.
having a good week so far.
There you go. See, and this is why you got to tune into Winning Picks Weekly. That's hence the name of the podcast, Winning Picks Weekly. All right, guys, and then last, well, not last. But make sure to tell a friend about us, and make sure to tell that friend to tell a friend about us, and make sure to tell that friend to tell the friend to tell the friend, tell their mom, their dad, their girlfriend, boyfriend, cat, dog, fish, whatever, that we're out here. Okay. It only helps us grow this community. And then now, last but certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're on all those platforms. Thank everyone for tuning in for another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. We'll catch you later this week for another Knicks and another Jets. We out.
Let's go, Jets.